Black Clover Sword of the Wizard King, the movie, just received its third trailer and, wow, it was absolutely phenomenal. It builds the hype, sets the tone, and very slyly teases things that are to come. In fact, there is so much packed into this 1-minute trailer that you may have missed that we actually get to see Asta borrowing YUNO'S power for the very first time on screen or on panel. That's right, remember Asta accidentally borrowed both Noelle and Gauche's magic power early in the series. Well, we finally get to see him do it again, many years later, but this time seemingly with YUNO'S powers. Not only does this signify Conrad even further as this grand threat for the film, but I think that if most of you look very closely at this image, you will see even further tidbits that show how powerful Conrad is based on the details of Asta's design. But we shall get into that later into the video. If you don't know, the Black Clover movie was originally intended to release on March 31st of this year, but it got delayed to June 16th. It's just a setback though, and all that it means is that we only have to wait a little bit longer and we're going to be getting an even better experience out of it. I will say that I have 2 other breakdowns of the previous trailers, and I would suggest that you guys go back and rewatch those after this one so you can have a bit of a refresher of what the previous trailers teased at what is to come in the Black Clover Sword of the Wizard King movie. I'll have a link in the description if you guys want to go ahead and check out the full trailer when you're done watching this video. This video will feature some spoilers for the manga, but the major ones I will give spoiler warnings and timestamps to skip ahead. A little reminder, this movie takes place between Black Clover's 6-month time skip. If you've only read the manga, it takes place between 228 and 229. If you're an anime person, it takes place between 157 and 158. Though it's very likely very close from 158, maybe only a few days away, because Asta in the movie looks considerably more muscular than in 157, and most people in this movie have their Spade Saga designs. Also, this movie is likely canon to the story, so it does have importance. I expanded on why it's canon in the other videos discussing the movie. With that being said, let's get right into what I could gather from the trailer and the order of the events that will happen in the film. Remember in the previous trailers and promotional material, it was stated that Conrad Leto was the 27th Wizard King directly before Julius, but he led a rebellion against the Clover Kingdom which failed thanks to Julius stopping him. The previous trailers show Conrad bound in time magic, and in the previous trailers it shows a younger Julius donning the gray deer robes back when he was their captain. So it seems that this movie is probably going to start with a flashback. Julius confronting Conrad amid his rebellion and defeating him by trapping him in a chronostasis time orb. My prediction is that we might not get to see the full fight of Julius versus Conrad in the past, and my reasoning for that is the specific image from the trailer. Spoilers, timestamp for when you need to skip ahead to. We can quite literally see inside of Julius's eye another eye, one with a red iris and a black slit, which is how the devil eyes are designed in Black Clover. Since this is showing Julius with a devil eye inside of his eye, and we know that he's contracted to the time devil Astaroth, it very well could be that shortly after the scene of Julius fighting Conrad and showing Astaroth's eyes, that it will skip ahead and not show how Julius beats him, probably because they don't want to spoil the greatest plot twist of all time. But for us manga readers, it would just signify that either Julius exchanged places with Lucius, or he summoned a lot of devil power from Astaroth to defeat Conrad. So based on these trailers, what I believe will happen is that Julius will realize that because of his weakened state, his time seal on Conrad is weakening, and then it will break. So he sends the captains to deal with it because he'd be too weak. We actually see this in 2 of the trailers. Yami, Nozel, Fugolion, and Kaiser are sent to deal with Conrad. We do see Yami fighting Edward Avalanche, who is one of the previous Wizard Kings. This is because at one moment in the trailer, we get to see Edward fighting Leopold. Edward's magic looks like a form of ice or snow magic, which means that I predicted it right in my last video. We also see that right before Yami gets hit by Edward's magic that he's covered in some sort of a clear aura. This would be weird because Yami's aura is supposed to be black or dark purple because he has dark magic, but considering that he was with Kaiser in this scene, it may be Kaiser protecting Yami with his vortex magic. Later in the trailer, we see Nozel defeated and near death, and also Yami wounded and captured yet again. Many people are wondering if Conrad needs Yami for some sort of a ritual that is based on his dark magic, similar to the Dark Triad needing him for the Tree of Cliffloff ritual. But I don't necessarily think that needs to be the case. Since we know that Conrad wants to destroy the Clover Kingdom as revenge, that means he also likely wants revenge on Julius, as it was Julius who was the one to stop him and ruin his plans. So he likely kidnapped Yami after beating him as a way to attempt to draw Julius into this Colosseum, where it seems the majority of this movie takes place. And I don't think that Julius is going to fall for this. Instead of showing up and fighting Conrad, as it looks like that instead, Julius is seeking for reinforcements, as Asta, Noelle, Hell, even Leopold finally makes another appearance in Black Clover, and they head to go save Yami and probably the other captains. The Black Bull squad is there, and also we see many other magic knights from other squads. So it really does seem that this is going to be an all-out war against Conrad and his fellow Wizard Kings. It seems the last trailer is revealed that Conrad's magic is likely key magic because he creates keys out of thin air. And I also mentioned that we see Edward's magic, but also it seemingly introduces Jester's magic. Jester is the 16th Wizard King. I had predicted something else entirely for his attribute, but in the trailer we see these spells that look like pieces of a chess game. We see a pawn and a rook, and we also see that his grimoire makes the same color of mana as the color of the chess pieces. And we saw in previous promotional material the Jester has a chessboard design on his grimoire, so he very likely then has chess magic, and these are his spells. I might have an idea of what Princia's magic is. Now, I had a theory of her special ability in the previous video, but her magic attribute might be this thing right here that Yuno attempts to break out of. I don't know. It is shown in this trailer that Conrad can use his key magic to open a bunch of these weird doors that give him access to many different powers. Now, if each door is a different magic attribute, this means that Conrad has the ability to wield dozens of magical powers at once, which clearly shows Tabata's goal of making him feel insurmountable. I was also able to spot various different magic types amongst these: water magic, dark magic, fire magic, lightning magic, wind magic, ice magic, steel magic, and probably far more than that, considering that's only a few out of likely dozens. We see Asta fighting chess pieces in the trailer, which means that yes, we are literally seeing a base Asta fighting a revived Wizard King's magic, showing how crazy Black Clover's power progression can get. But I mean, it makes sense. At this point in the mid-time skip, Asta's base form has already surpassed the power of his Black Divider that ended Zagrid the Word Devil's life. Alongside Asta are the Black Bulls fighting the giant chess piece. We see Magna, Vanessa, Luck, Gauche, Gray, and Zora fighting it. Later on in the trailer, Henry and the Black Bulls base arrive, likely setting up the Black Bulls gathering together inside of it and teaming up in the raging Black Bull for a battle of two giants with the large chess piece. We see Conrad stab the sword into the ground, and it actually makes the very structure of the Colosseum move. In the sky, we see what looks to be a time spell, and we also see a sealing spell beneath it. Now, it's really hard for me to decide what exactly this means. Is this just the moment of Julius binding Conrad with his time magic in the flashback when Conrad's initial rebellion is quelled? Or is this something going on within the present timeline of the movie? I think it could go either way. As in the last trailer, when Conrad is bound in time, it's a small orb and he's on the ground. In this scene, it's actually in the sky, so it might not be that it's in the past. Also, in this scene, what's interesting is that we've seen something similar to this before. It looks like the sealing magic used by Patri in the Third Eye fairly early on in the series. So is this Conrad unsealing something with his key magic while he's floating in the sky? Maybe, but keep in mind that this is also not a spell we've seen of Julius before. We've seen similar spells before, but not quite like this one. So either we will see a new Julius time spell in the movie, or it will have to do with that spoiler that I mentioned earlier. But this could also have to do with the explosion that we see, and also Conrad's final form. Yeah, he likely gets a transformation in the movie based on what we see in the trailer. Now, of course, this will end up leading to a final battle of sorts against Conrad Leto, and Asta will be the face of this final assault. There are a few very interesting clues and some very unsuspecting screen grabs as well. We see Asta confront Conrad at various points. He's flying in, and he gets surrounded by the many doors accessed by his keys. He goes into black forms and fights off many of his spells, and I think Asta may actually beat the regular base version of Conrad. There are some reasons for why I think this. If you look at Conrad at this scene in the trailer, it looks like Conrad hits Asta with all of his magic, knocks Asta out of commission, but then he gets back up, fights him, and we actually see a wounded Conrad with a slash on his face, and he's crying and looks defeated. And then it looks like Asta's coming to slap him around with the Demon Slayer sword. So I think that what happens here is that Conrad is going to lose, and he might actually go a bit overboard with his magic, leading to this massive explosion of blue light, and then he gets his form. That's right, we see right here, Conrad's arm is now massive and green. Also, we see that he has white hair now instead of black. First, I thought this was Elf Yuno, and somehow Conrad's magic brought him out of Yuno's body, but it just makes more sense that Conrad using his key magic to discover or find a magic attribute that transformed him and made him even more powerful. He has a lot of green color all over him, and even his magic is a shade of green. So it can make sense that this is just him, and it makes even more sense because Asta's fighting him. It just looks like Conrad's hair turned white. And maybe it's not even actually a normal transformation. Maybe it's actually a devil that he's borrowed the power of or something like that. Maybe he's possessed. Maybe that's why he's crying, because he just found out that he was a pawn all along, similar to Patri, and then a devil or a demon possesses his body. We know that the highest devils all have white hair, and what happens to Conrad's hair? It goes white. What happened when Vanica used a higher level of Magicula's devil power? Her hair turned white. But this leads into the thing that hyped me the very most, Asta finally using his Demon Dweller sword once again to borrow the magic power of his allies. Remember, he first did this with Noelle all the way back in the dungeon, and he repeated that again with Gauche back in the cave. It's been many, many years since he's done this, so I'm very glad that this was shown again. But not only that, to do it with YUNO too. This is something that a lot of fans have been waiting for a long time, for Asta to borrow YUNO'S magic power instead. Now, you've probably noticed something off about Asta's black form in the trailer. He has 3 horns, extra devil markings, 2 wings, a devil arm, and these weird orbs floating around him. This can be weird because Asta did not get a devil arm until after this movie takes place, right? And he didn't get the berserker form till later either. But this doesn't have to do with neither the black form nor a devil arm. But in order for me to explain it to you, I do need to delve into some spoiler territory, so another warning here. It's a very, very minor spoiler in comparison to others, but still. Timestamp here for when we exit spoiler territory. It just seems the anime movie is just teasing and building up the hype for Asta's Devil Union, which appears in the Spade Saga of the manga. We know that this form right here for Asta is similar to Devil Union because Union has these same markings on Asta's face. It also has these red marks on Asta's arms, similar to Union, and it also has anti-magic orbs floating around him, just like Devil Union. So what I think this is that it's just like a bridging the gap form between Berserk and Devil Union, that maybe something happens that triggers both Liebe and Asta, and it makes their resonance somehow a bit higher, which is weird because they don't even know each other at this point yet. Or maybe an even better answer is we do know that Liebe in the actual manga and the anime resonates with other devils. Remember, we saw this at the end of the Elf Saga against Zagrid. Liebe was so pissed that it was just straight up evolving Asta's black form. So if Conrad's weird new form is actually a devil form or a devil possessing form, then it makes sense as to how this Berserk union is happening. So I don't actually believe that this contradicts the manga or anything. I think it's just something to tease Union to the anime-only fans, and really only the manga fans know what's going on. I know a lot of people are saying that the movie is not canon because in the movie, we see right here, Asta has a devil arm, which is something that actually happens later in the anime. This shouldn't be right here. But again, as I just said, when we see Devil Union Asta in the manga, he has red markings just by using Devil Union. So there's actually no proof this is a devil arm. I think it's more likely that this is just the Devil Union leaking through, and it's giving him the red markings. And it makes more sense because this movie is, for all intents and purposes that we know, it's supposed to be canon. So it is the more logical assumption to assume that this is not a permanent devil arm. It's just related to this pseudo-union that Asta's getting for the movie. But this still shows the insane level of power that Conrad is at, because as I mentioned earlier, Asta's base form at the time of the movie would be more powerful than Zagrid. This is because Magna surpassed Black Asta in the anime canon while they were training, as he defeated a golem that a weaker version of Black Asta would have struggled with. And then Magna gets his Manic Mana state, which is stated to be a 25 times multiplier in the light novel. And then Asta can just fight both Manic Mana Luck and Manic Mana Magna at the same time, while only in his base form. Which means that Asta basically got over 50 times stronger. And this is before Asta even goes to the Heart Kingdom and gets many, many times stronger on top of that. So if Conrad is forcing Asta to go beyond his black form, and even go beyond his Berserk form, and bridging the gap between that spoiler form I just mentioned earlier, and Asta still needs to borrow power from Yuno, who may also have been pushed to a higher level of power. Yeah, it's actually really possible that Conrad could be stronger than the likes of 80% Dante, 80% Zenon, or 70% Vanica. I might have to do the 4 Wizard Kings versus the Dark Triad as a versus battle video project after the movie comes out. But let me know if you think that would be a fun video to watch. And who do you think wins based on the trailer and based on the manga? Now, one thing I've noticed is that kind of since Noelle's major fight in the Spade Saga, we have not gotten a lot of her in the manga, and it's really disappointed me because I'm a huge Noelle fan. But thank God, Noelle is actually present in this trailer at multiple points, and she's likely going to have a story arc. Now, it probably will have to tie with one of these Wizard Kings. I think that one of these Wizard Kings will be the one that will have beaten Nozel. As we do see this image right here, Nozel bloodied and beaten. I think that it'll have been one of these Wizard Kings, and I think that whichever one it is, that's going to be the one that Noelle is tasked with to defeat, and she will be the one to defeat that one. We do see her in this trailer at multiple points. We even see her fighting with her Valkyrie armor. And this will be a really cool to see maybe new spells that we didn't get to see in the anime or the manga from her training in the Heart Kingdom. Maybe we'll see of her using some runes and arrays finally. But yeah, I'm really excited because this is probably going to give a bit more of a highlight or a spotlight to her. Even though like in the last year plus of the Black Clover manga, we really have not seen a lot of her. And that's really disappointing as from me, I'm a huge Noelle fan. One thing I really hope to see too is that maybe it's actually not even that it's Asta defeating Conrad, at least like the initial form that triggers his transformation, but I would really love it for it to be a Asta, Noelle, and YUNO Light Triad team up. We've called this team the Light Triad for a long time, for years now, ever since the Dark Triad was revealed in the manga, and we realized that each of the Dark Triad were matched with each members of Asta, Noelle, and YUNO, so we started calling them the Light Triad. But we have not seen them actually all fight together at one point. That's been very disappointing, because that's what would be really cool to see. And we even have this image right here, and this is, showing them all in their transformations, but we still have not seen them all fight together. I really hope this movie shows Asta, YUNO, and Noelle all fighting together, all of them fighting Conrad at once. It'd be really awesome if they're the ones that defeat his base form and then trigger his transformation. I would absolutely love that. Black form Asta with Black Divider, Spirit Dive Zephyr YUNO, and Valkyrie Noelle using true magic or runes and arrays. I would absolutely love that combination. And also, guys, can you imagine how hard a YUNO and Noelle combo spell would slap? Maybe they hit Conrad with a combo spell, and also that sends Asta after them with the anti-magic chasing it. I would love that. We also get this really cool poster for the movie, and it does show Marileona on it in her spade hair design, so she will likely have a presence in the movie, which is good. I would love to see her reactions to previous Wizard Kings, and I would love to know what she thought or now thinks of Conrad, because she would have been alive to see his reign as Wizard King. Hopefully she does fight Princia, because that seems to be a good match for her, just based on their designs. So yeah, I think that this movie will start out with Julius fighting and sealing Conrad in time, then it will go back to the present, and Julius will realize something is up, probably because of his magic being weakened from his young age. He sends the captains to go stop Conrad. They lose. Conrad kidnaps Yami to entice Julius. Instead, Asta, Noelle, and others are recalled from the Heart Kingdom training and go in to help fight Conrad and save Yami. Conrad is eventually defeated, but somehow transforms and takes a whole new level of Asta's power, and finally borrowing magic power from YUNO to take him down. I'm so beyond hyped for this movie, and I know for a fact that you are as well. Comment down below which of the 4 new Wizard Kings you are excited to see. Leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy this video, and join my Discord and follow me on Twitter, link down below. Hope you guys all have an amazing day. Peace out.